Thank you so much. It's kind of Bob Dylan-ish. All right. So I'm thrilled to welcome our speaker today. He is effervescent, joyful, sincere, always heartfelt, and inspirational. And I'm proud to call him my friend, Reverend Mark Johnson. Please welcome him.
Wow. I was telling a lot of people today that just as in the 60s when women burned their bras, boy, it's going to be a bonfire when we burn these things. Woo! So, aloha and welcome today to the Center for Spiritual Living. Hi. I didn't see you sneak in back there. I am what I call, what Kathy Kern actually labeled it, a global heart minister. I am affiliated with the East Hawaii Center for Spiritual Living, and I travel and speak wherever I'm invited, and I also attend many groups in the Course in Miracles, for I feel that the Course in Miracles and the science of mind are really very aligned with each other. And the one thing that I find that the science of mind has is the production of thoughts and how to create manifesting things. And that's really good. We need to know that in this world, because our thoughts are so powerful and our minds are so powerful that when we think a thought, it starts moving into form. So I always tell people, please watch your thoughts, especially the more you awaken, because it happens real fast. The Course in Miracles really teaches the key to happiness. The science of mind was very instrumental in me demonstrating many, many things on the planet. But what I had to learn was the principle of forgiveness. And the Course in Miracles really hits it right on the nose, that the key to happiness is forgiveness. And each of our experiences every day gives us the opportunity to forgive. And sometimes you'll notice my talk today really is when the road gets rocky. And I know we all know what that means. The truth is that things happen to us as we draw them to us, but we don't really want to admit that. We'd rather project it off onto someone else and say that they're the problem, not me. Well, the Course in Miracles teaches us very clearly that we are creating our environment. Now, there's a lot of people that go, what? I didn't create that. How did I create that? Well, that's part of Spirit's plan to awaken you to your own spiritual magnificence. And if you forgive it and bless it, then you need to change the thought to the new thought, which would be the reverse of what you just experienced. So it's so funny. I keep looking like I keep feeling like I'm in a chapter of ER with all these masks on. It's so bizarre. Anyway, when challenges arise, this is Eckhart Tolle, one of my favorite people to read. I love The Power of Now, and I love The New Earth. It says, when challenges arise, make it a habit to go within at once and focus as much as you can on the inner energy field of your body and mind. Focused attention is the key to transformation. Wherever your energy is focused is where you're going to give the energy to it, and it will start to manifest on the physical plane. So Eckhart Tolle is really good about that, and I know when challenges arise, the first thing that I do is panic. I mean, you know, we're human. We're human beings, so the first thing we do is panic. And so my partner and I were driving on the scenic 4-mile drive, which all of you know doesn't have any gas stations on it, right? So these new cars are wonderful. All of a sudden I saw this little tire come up and it says, your left back tire has 12 pounds of energy in it. And I'm like, what? And in my most enlightened way, I'm like, oh no, what are we going to do? And I said, well, you can just call the people on your cell phone. He said, I thought you had your cell phone. I'm like, oh no, what do we do? So ultimately what I had to do is learn and just surrender. But I had to say, Holy Spirit, you have to find me a place to get off the road that I can put a butterfly jack up, because it's basically rocks. But so what happens is it just showed up, a pull out off the road. I thought, wow, thank you, Holy Spirit. Miracles are natural if you just ask for them. So there it was, and I had to relearn how to change a tire. I have not done that in 15 years. And here's this big Chrysler with a tire about the size of that whole thing. And I'm like, how do we get that thing out? And I thought, oh, wait a minute. I do remember it coming back from the archives now. For all of you that are over 60, a lot of stuff gets archived by the time you're 70. And it's like, okay, I need to know this, but it's not coming up. It's like, I'm getting there. And eventually it comes up when you least expect it. So anyway, I learned how to adapt. And that's what we have to do, is adapt. We have to put the correction in. I thought, I forgive myself for doing this. I don't know why I created this. I still don't know why. And I'm willing to let it go. And so I got happy again after I changed the tire. I had lots of wonderful supervision from my partner. That was helpful. If any of you are in partnership, you know what that's like. It's like, did you turn this? Did you do that? And I'm like, I guess. I don't remember. Anyway, so I'm in the moment. I don't know. So I love the Pule where it says, stay in the moment. That's all there really is. Just stay in the moment. But our ego is very, very tricky. It says, okay, we're in the moment, and I see this, so now let's see what that's like. So I will go back to all my records of what it was, not being in the moment, and try to compare it to that. So the Course in Miracles today said, let go of differences. We need to begin to focus on samenesses. We're all human beings. We're all spirits here in bodies. That's what we're doing. And it's a divine experiment to see how we react. And so Carl Jung was one of my favorites, and he said, who looks outside dreams. Now that sounds really good, right? But the other one is, who looks inside within awakens. So we can be in the dream and know we're in the dream when we're awakened. Or when we look outside, and it also says in the Course, beware of having too much mind wandering, because my mind used to wander everywhere. And that was the beauty of meditation for me. That was a time where it didn't wander. I just went straight into the Om, into the truth. So I spend a lot of time there. Let me just see what I said here. Okay, so difficult things for me, first you panic, which is most the human part. Then you observe with no attachment. You observe and think, okay, there's no service station. I need to change this tire. I need to do this. So then what I do is I immediately forgive myself for creating that situation. So I don't need to do it again. And then I bless it and release it, the appearance of it, and just do what needs to be done. I took it back to the car dealer, and they gave us a new car. So it's really important to really get that we're creating our reality. And Science of Mind is a brilliant philosophy that was turned into a church that really wasn't supposed to be in church. But it worked because people know what a church is. And Ernest Holmes fought that forever, but it was then made into a church. So that's really good because we know to show up. That's really good. Now, I believe that Science of Mind has been one of the most underestimated philosophies in the world because most people that end up here got really tired of feeling guilty or being a sinner, which doesn't exist, but it is, what the traditional religions do is project that you're sinful. There's original sin. There is no sin. Never has been. if you realize this, then you realize, wow, we're not really separate. And see, we teach oneness in the science of mind, and we are all one. Just like you know, the song, when we are the light, we are like rays of light, and the sun, the spirit of infinite intelligence is the center. It's the sun. And we're all like two waves on an ocean going, do you think there's an ocean? That's how we are. We're always like, there might be. You might look around. It's everywhere. The beauty of Hawaii for me is that it's absolutely evident. You can't miss it. You can't miss it. You're in the ocean, and you are absolutely looking at flowers every day. And I'm now partially living on the mainland a lot, and I see it's hard to find the flowers unless you go to a florist. Here you've got an entire garden of flowers. So everywhere you go, I love what Dennis said. It's like, you got to notice the flowers. Take time to look at the flowers. Take time to do a treatment for yourself. Like you said, that's really powerful for you to just say, I'm going to treat and know that I have fun today. I don't know how that's going to happen. That's not my job. That is the Holy Spirit or God's job to do that and figure it out. And I believe in heaven on earth. But it is not going out and saving people. We don't need to. We must save ourselves and change our perceptions of what we're looking at. And how many times I look at something and go, Holy Spirit, show me what this means. I don't get this at all. I can't even figure out what this is happening here, what's happening. And on the mainland, that happens every day. So I start my spiritual practices every morning by doing a gratitude journal. Because as I focus more on gratitude, that's what I have in my life. If I focus on what our illustrious president is doing, or what Fox News is saying, or what CNN is saying, I'm in a different world. So I'm not saying that we should be ostriches and stick our heads in the sand. We need to know what we need to know. And what I do is I surrender all news over to the Holy Spirit. And if I need to know something, it will be told me. I'm lucky to have a partner that really loves the news and very entertained by the news. So I always said I will never play Trivial Pursuit with you, ever. Because he knows too much. I'm like, there's no way I even know that stuff. So I forgive myself almost every day, and I do this thing the Course teaches me, which is choose again. Choose again. Choose again until you get to the point where there's really only one choice, to listen to the voice within yourself. And that voice is the voice of the Holy Spirit. And you can tell, people say, well, how do I know what's the Holy Spirit? It always talks about doing the loving thing. The other one's always about, you should be afraid of this, you shouldn't do that, and you should judge everybody. I'm like, well, I don't think that one really works too well for me. So I just listen to the Holy Spirit, and I do whatever it tells me to do. And I'm willing to live in heaven, which means that I have to change my perception of the outer. And the way for me to do that is to go within and awaken to the oneness of all of us. If we awaken to that, then there's just heaven. You see flowers and you see things, and you're led by the Holy Spirit rather than the ego, which is always about limitation. And what I find is that I am moved to spaces that are free of conflict or struggle or sacrifice or not enough. I am placed in places where the Holy Spirit thinks I can best serve. So I just want to read something from Ernest Holmes so we can bring that back in here too. I love Ernest Holmes because he was the clearest channel at the time of really the one consciousness of God, or what I call the infinite intelligence, because God has such a bunch of names and stuff going on for it. So infinite intelligence for me works. So, oh, I forgot. I'm over 60. This is something that I really get. We must definitely and consistently know that the universe is for us, not against us. We shall have to learn that evil is neither person place, or thing, but is an experience which we are allowed to have because of our individuality, our divine individuality. So if a person takes his images of thoughts only from his previous experiences, then he continues in bondage to which those previous experiences create. So if we talk about discord, we shall become more discordant. And see, to me, that's very important. That's probably the essence of Science of Mind, really. The other part of it that I really like is we have, this is Ernest Holmes talking, the founder, we have no responsibility for anyone except ourselves. Get over all ideas that we must save the world. We have tried and have all failed. So I like that, because that's saying what Science of Mind is powerful for me, because it says take responsibility for your thoughts. If you got what they call on the island here stinking thinking, you ain't going to have much fun. You're going to be in conflict all the time. My thing is to look for the positive energy. Look for it everywhere, and you'll find it. And then one other thing from Ernest, he said, we must take the mental stand that evil and negative conditions are not things in themselves, and constantly and consistently affirm that good alone has constructive and lasting power, is a spiritual entity, and has the law to support it, and that good is active in our experience. Then we will demonstrate our theory, no matter what the existing conditions to the contrary may be. And we must do this. We must hold the truth. There are so many others that are attempting to sway or spin our consciousness. Every person that starts believing in the spiritual magnificence of humanity adds to the power of that by 10,000. And you can imagine that doing that practice of seeing the Christ in each person that you come in contact with, from the bank teller to the target person, starts to change the world in a very different way. You don't have to go save them. That doesn't work. Save yourself and start projecting the truth that heaven is now and has never been anywhere else. So I leave you with this thought that forgiveness is truly the key to happiness, and God in its infinite intelligence brings us almost every day, until we don't have that, almost every day in the beginning of my practice, obstacles, conditions, rocky roads, things to go past it. But forgiveness brings us to the road home, which is paved. So just trust the process of life. And when something comes up that activates you, like your partner, then what you say to yourself, I'm activated and I need to go lie down. That works on every relationship. It's like, I'm activated right now and I would like to rip your head off. That's the you don't want to say that. That part you don't need to say. But it's like, okay, I'm going to just go and talk to the Holy Spirit. I'm going to lie down, do some breathing, and I'll be fine. And about 10 minutes later, the great part about this life is that it changes. 10 minutes later, I go, okay, Holy Spirit, I have no idea what he's talking about. So you just tell me what I need to do. And it said, just forgive him. And I was like, oh, that's pretty easy. You know, unless my ego's really attached and wants that bone. You know, it's like, I know I'm right. And I thought, yeah, in the Course in Miracles it said, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? They're two different states. There is both. I used to have a partner that said to me, I'm only happy when I'm right. And I went, oh, no. You're in big trouble, man, because the world is out there and they're going to barrage you with being right for everybody, because you will attract only yourself. So I thank you for inviting me to speak here. I really love the Center for Spiritual Living East Hawaii, and I'm blessing Kathy as she goes into rewirement, not retirement, but rewirement. She's got to start looking out like, what am I going to do with myself? I had the same thing from Waikoloa, and I just went, I just need to find my own little things that I like to do and enjoy myself. And running a church is not easy. People go, oh, that looks so easy. It takes great effort to look effortless, believe me. So thank you for inviting me, and I really enjoy all of you. I love seeing, and I especially love seeing Moses. He was in my Center for Spiritual Living on Waikoloa, and I was the spiritual leader over there. And welcome, and thank you for coming. Aloha.
Thank you, Reverend Mark. All right, so now let's move into conscious giving. Yay.